Welcome, everyone. Let's do this. Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm Big Mike. I'm going to be here with you every Friday from 5 to 6, talking all things Indy sports. Happy Friday, everybody. Blue Friday here in Indy, as most of you know. For those of you who don't, it's Friday. We got to support our Colts. Big game this weekend. It'll be a tough one, but really looking forward to it. We're going to talk a lot over the course of these Fridays, 5 to 6. Hopefully, you can shut down that laptop. Maybe leave that office a few minutes early. Get to a good spot. Get your beverage of choice responsibly, of course, and just sit down. Let's interact. Let's have a good time. We're going to talk a lot of all things Indy sports, right? So we're going to get into the fever. We'll get Colts, obviously. We get college football, Hoosiers, Boilers, Irish, you name it. But real quick, just want to give a quick shout out to all the folks at IE Radio for allowing me this platform, just to chat with everybody. Can't wait to interact with a lot of you guys. Some of you I've already interacted with. It's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, if you hear some pinging and banging in the background here, that is the remnants of the hurricane. So hopefully, if you have anybody in the South that's been affected, hopefully you've checked on your people. Hopefully everybody is good. I have a few coworkers down there myself and some colleagues. Everybody's good. A few unfortunately had to evacuate, but everybody's doing good. So check on your people. Anyway, as I mentioned, as we get on doing this, obviously it's football season, right? And I couldn't be happier to be able to do this starting at this time of year, right? For any of us who are sports fans. And maybe this is just me, but fall is where it's at. Me as a Midwesterner, of course, I love fall too. It's starting to cool down a little bit. Today's a bad example because it's raining and windy like crazy. But it starts cooling off, and you get the hoodie weather, as we like to call it. Hoodie shorts, and then evenings you might throw the pants on and sit around the fire, talk sports, talk whatever. It's just a great time of year. But think about this. I mean, you got NFL obviously in full swing now. College football's rocking and rolling. The Major League Baseball end of the season this weekend, playoffs next week. All this right now. And by the way, be remiss to not to mention, we got hoops just on the horizon. We got NBA in a month. We've got, you've seen, I'm sure most of you have seen already, the interviews already with college basketball head coaches. I'm excited. And for those of you who may not be as familiar with Indiana, man, we are a hoop state. And I can't wait to have the banter with some of you guys when IU Purdue roll around. But hey, until then, we got a lot of football to chat about and a lot of basketball to talk about. So, and again, just a shout out to everybody who's allowed me the platform again just to hang out with you guys, and I'm just really looking forward to it. If you're not familiar with us, give us a little follow on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it. I think most of us are calling it Twitter. Heard somebody call it Twix the other day. I thought that was a little strange. But hey, whatever. You do you. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you got it. As you see here, I've got a scroll at the bottom. Available on all the podcasts, Spotify, our radio. You got all that. We're everywhere, man. And I think what you're going to, for those who are might be new to this, there's a ton of great hosts that we have on this platform. And to be able to listen to some out of market viewpoints is, I think, is very, very interesting. For example, here, probably not going to talk a ton of hockey. For those of you who don't know, there's probably about 7 hockey fans in Central Indiana. So, there's not much of a hockey presence here. But one thing we will talk about as we progress is we'll get some racing involved. If we get time today, I may touch. There was some news in the racing world today that has broken. Still some not a lot of details on it, but we might be able to touch on that here before we go on. IESportsradio.com. Check them out. Check us out. see all the guys and gals, whatnot. You'll see you can find a link to me. This all happened really fast, y'all. So I don't know if there's a whole lot up there just yet, but we'll keep moving. We'll keep doing that, and just improving that experience overall. And hey, while you're there, might get some swag. It was crazy. We're gonna blink. It's gonna be Christmas. Oh, just something to think about. Again, as we do this, I want to interact with all of you. So a couple follows here this is on the, again, Twitter, X. I'm just gonna call it Twitter. If I get in trouble, then I'll change. But anywho, at Indy Sports _IESR, and then you can follow me personally. Scrolling there at the Chill Mike. And let's interact. Keep it PG, people. There's enough toxicity out there, so let's be good. Let's be good people. It's a fun interaction, but let's just be. You know what I mean? I don't need to tell you all that. All right. So what I mentioned before, we're going to get into the fever, Colts. We'll get into again. Hoosiers, Boilers, Irish. If we get time, we may have a little bit of racing here, but if we don't get to that, we'll touch a little bit more on that next week for sure. So, on that note, we have sponsors, which is awesome. We have some great sponsors here, which means we got to give them their props. So we're gonna take a quick break, talk about actually pay our bills. That's probably the best way to put it. We're gonna pay our bills. And then once we come back, we're going to get right into it. So stick around, hang in there. Again, this is awesome. Indy Sports Nation, Big Mike here. My Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be right back.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
All right, welcome back, everybody. A little, I was getting worried there for a second. A big gust of wind here, and the computer got a little bit of freezing up there. So if that showed up on your end, big apologies for that. Anyway, as discussed, we're going to get right into it here. And I know it's football season, and we love it, but got to talk some fever, man. Just because it was painful, but I'm so proud to be a fan of this team. Man, it's almost hard to put into words, to be honest with you. This team had so much outside noise. And before we even get to that, I mean, I don't want to dive too much into that again, and we're not going to be toxic. We're not going to bring some of that junk up. You all know what's going on up there. But 2 years ago, this team won 6 games. You can imagine in a basketball state like Indiana how well that went over. 6 games. Get the number 1 pick in the draft, drafted Leah Boston. Love me some Leah Boston. We'll get into that. Man, I'm a big fan of her. Go from 6 to 13. I would say it's solid to me. And then, just so happens. I don't know if we just got a little. We all want to say luck. That's kind of what it was. Get the first pick again, and of course, you're going Caitlin Clark, obviously. And some of you may or may not remember this, but they were thrown to the fever. I mean, they were thrown to the wolves. I mean, like, all right, here you go. You get about 5 minutes for training camp, and then, oh yeah, you're gonna play the Liberty, the Aces, the Sun. Oh yeah, the best teams in the league, and good luck. This Fever team started 1-9. Think about that for a minute. It felt like you'd watch this team and you see the talent was there, but it felt like every time you blinked, there was a turnover. And you hear people like, oh, well, Caitlin this, yada, yada, yada. I would challenge a lot of you to accept a pass from Caitlin Clark. That girl's got zip on that thing. Absolute zip. So you see it's coming in like a fastball, and the girls are like, holy smoke, I can keep up with this. But guess what? They improved greatly. That Olympic break came at the right time. And it was irritating to me because here they are, 1-9. They're playing what? I can't remember the exact stat. It was insane, though. They had these 10 games were played over 17 days or something stupid. It probably wasn't 17 days, but you get the idea. By the time they had played their 10th or 11th game, the Aces had played 5. Might have been 6, but it was something along that line. So it was just, gauntlet, man. Just go. Break couldn't have came at a better time, and then when that break came, holy smokes! And if you watched, you saw the improvement. Just bam, those passes were being caught now. If you get some nice pick and roll between her and Leah Boston, became, if not the most, and I'm a little biased, but one of the most exciting team in the league to watch. And there's no hate on Asia, by the way, in base, because she's ridiculous. But the goal this year was the playoffs. So kind of going back to what I was saying a minute ago, right? 6 wins to 13 to 20. I'm not mad at that. I love that. Absolutely love that. And I know sometimes we're in this society of instant gratification. We want everything great. Now, and maybe it's my old Gen X in me. I don't know. But I'm thrilled with where they're at and the way they've handled all this extra media and all the BS you hear out there. Basically, to shut it down and ignore all the talk, ignore the media, all that. Not ignore the media, but you know what I mean there. So the way they handled themselves on and off the court, top notch. Obviously, Caitlin is amazing, and in her interview, she does everything right. She plays the game right. It's insane. So just super, super excited to be a fan of this team, and the future is so bright. But I wanted to get in the game a little bit on Wednesday. Look, I mean, it was it was going to be a tough one. That was a tough matchup for the Fever. And props to the Sun. Connecticut Sun, man, they take pride in their defense. And again, maybe it's the old me. I'm an old man now or something. I don't know. But I appreciate good defense. And I'm going to give Yinzer his props here in a little bit when we talk about the Colts-Steelers game tomorrow, because that's going to be some defense that's probably be good, at least on one side of the ball. But I digress. We'll get down to that in a minute. The Fever starting five, no playoff experiences ever. None, zero. Going into Connecticut game one and never been in a playoff game, in a WNBA playoff game, right? And it showed. It definitely showed. But that's fine. That's going to happen. Game two energy, I loved. When they came out firing in game two, the energy was night and day, to me, at least. I mean, you see right off the bat, Caitlin being Caitlin, about 6-7 feet behind the 3-point line, just drills it. And you just look in her eyes. And I'm like, okay, this is energy here. I'm like, I like this already. You can just see it. And then it keeps going, right? I mean, they're just running the floor. I'm like, okay, this is what you want. This is Fever basketball. This is what I want to see. Connecticut couldn't hit water from a boat at that point. I think they were 1 of 11, 1 of 12, somewhere on that line. It was not good. But here's where I got concerned. I was actually texting a buddy of mine during the game, and I'm like, they're missing a lot of close shots. And then they showed the stat. Fever only shot 40%. And I'm like, oh, man. So you see this graphic, you're like 13-4 on the road game two. Like on the surface, yeah, let's go. I'll take that. I started kind of diving in a little deeper. I'm like, man, they left some points out there, man. And I'm not saying that Connecticut wouldn't have made a run. So even if it was 20-4, like it probably should have been, that's not to say Connecticut wouldn't have made a run. I mean, I'm not naive in that regard. I don't know. It kind of makes you think it's a 6-point loss, and they easily left that on there. But hey, obviously you can't do that. I mean, you can nitpick that in every game you watch, right? You can, if this would have happened here and this would have happened here, it didn't. So it is what it is. But I love the start of it. They came out great, and then unfortunately, you knew Connecticut was going to start making shots. They're not 1 of 11 bad. They're just not. So they start making some shots, and next thing you know, it's tied up. And man, when Connecticut gets in that half-court offense, they're tough. They're a tough team. I mean, it's like a semifinals team every year. So they're good. But man, and that exploits. That's a tough matchup for the Fever. Fever's defense has not been what I would say, ideal. That's something they're going to have to work on. But bringing some pieces in the offseason, draft, however they go about it. And Caitlin will be the first to tell you that. That's something that she has to work on and whatnot. And that's just what it is. But Mayo, Connecticut gets a Fever in a half-court deal. That's like it just makes the Fever look like they can't guard chairs. So that kind of took place, and it looks like, I got to the point in the third quarter where I'm like, yeah, it's not looking good. But then the resiliency and the effort, they're able to turn that around in the fourth quarter and take the lead. After being down double digits, they down like 11, 12 points, I think. And just that mentality, they got back to their game a little bit, and it was just the grit. And sorry, I hate to, do a Chuck Pagano quote. Might scar some Colts fans here, but I just loved watching that and seeing that. And here they are taking the lead, and I'm getting amped. I'm sitting like, whoa, wait a minute. We're going to force a game 3? And wait, that's going to be here in Indy. Gamebridge is going to 17,000 in Gamebridge. This place is going to be rocking. Downtown's going to be hopping, man. I'm like, let's do this. Let's go. And then not so much. Of course, I am doing my first show with y'all, and I was even, that's great, right? I'm like, man, I get to talk about the Fever possibly pulling off the upset. Yeah, that's how it goes. A few too many turnovers there in the fourth, and I credit Connecticut's defense too. I mean, you cannot give them their due. So, But, as I mentioned, man, and you've seen all the records that Caitlin broke this year, and we could probably stay here for 2 hours and go over them all, but I mean, that's just how impressive it was. And like I said, just a fun season. Got to give the ladies their flowers. They deserve it. They've handled themselves amazingly on and off the court. They're gonna be a problem. Coach Sides has had some criticism here, and some of it warranted. I think some of it, some of it not so much, in my opinion. That's okay. I think she's gonna have some pressure on her next year, though. Another year with this team, and they'll probably add a piece too, or we'll see what happens with Kelsey Mitchell, who got a stellar second half of the season. Big reason why the Fever were so as successful as they were. She's a free agent, so we'll see what happens there. But overall, man, great, just a fun team. And some of you who aren't watching them or watching WNBA, give it a look, give it a watch, man. These girls are just balling. And I'll kind of leave the topic on this, and this is kind of unfortunate for the WNBA, but I also think it's not I don't know. You know how this goes. More eyes on your product, more people watching. You tend to be a little bit more subject to some extra scrutiny. They've got an officiating issue, in my opinion. I mean, yikes. And I'm not talking just Fever games. I've watched other games too. It's like, yuck. We have these discussions too in the NFL, right? Because they're not full time, and it's not going to happen, and they're just missing calls left and right, and yada yada yada. So I'm kind of willing to let that slide. I think they got to look at that and work to get a little bit better there. The other thing I'll notice, and I'll be interested to see if you agree with me on here. As I mentioned, give me the follows. Let's interact. I tend to think that maybe the best of 3 series should be done. I don't know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that. And here's why I say it. The teams who advanced were the better teams. Okay? I mean, I've zero issue admitting that. I'm a fan of my team, but I also consider myself a realist. I mean, I see what I see. I'm sad the season ended, but, it did. Just to me, would have been cool for not just the Fever, but the other teams in the playoffs as well, to maybe host a game. I mean, I would like to see this format go best of 5. I mean, I can just imagine the revenue it could stream. I mean, we know even, if the Fever got a game 3 here at Cambridge and they're down 2-0, the place is still going to get packed. They'll still sell out. I mean, there's some dollars there. I think you probably say that about some of the other markets too. So I don't know, just something to think about. I've seen some other people comment on this as well and seem to kind of agree. We'll see what they do. I mean, they got some expansions coming in. Another team coming in next year, and I think 2 more the year after that. So they're growing. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, big shout out to the Fever. Proud of them, and we'll see what they do in the off season. So on that note, we'll get a couple another break in here. We got a lot of Colts talk to get to, and college football and whatnot. So stick around. Thanks again for being on the ride with me, man. Hope you're enjoying it. So appreciate you tuning in. Indy Sports Nation on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We will be right back.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, y'all, Indy Sports Nation. IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, I hope you're having a happy Friday and are as excited for this weekend as I am. A lot to get into, man. So let's get into it. How about those Colts? Man, it was good for them to get the first win of the season. However, my word, I I barely have any words for it, man. I mean, I don't mean to sound like, I'm dogging here, right? I know it's going to kind of sound like I am, but I am going to dog a little bit. I just am. But if you watch that game, whether it be live or in person, I'm sorry. My eyes still hurt from it. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was literally like texting people, posting things like, "Hey, send dog pics or send me pictures of your kids," or I don't know, whatever, just so I can perhaps get that game, out of my retinas. Yeah, that was brutal. I think the highlight of the game, or the most entertaining part of the game, was you had Pat McAfee and T.Y. Hilton in the suite there, the on-field suite, if you will, and then Seth Rollins from the WWE was there, and he stands up, and of course the camera's on him, and the little graphic, WWE Seth Rollins, and if you know who he is a diehard Bears fan. So, we kind of saw it coming a mile away. But anyway, he rips off the coat. He's got his big, Caleb Williams jersey on. And I could appreciate that. I thought it was funny. And then, of course, the whole place goes berserk because Lucas Oil was Soldier Field South on Sunday. Kind of knew that's going to happen. Sometimes I got to remind people like me, first and foremost, we all know Bears fans travel very, very well. I mean, if you watch the Sunday night football game the week before, you could hear that place was rocking with Bears fans. So, hey, nothing but respect for that. The other piece of it, too, is here in Indy. I mean, obviously, from Indy to Chicago, it's a 3-hour drive, right? So, easy away game for them to come to. But the other thing I like to remind people is the boomers, if you will. A lot of them here are Bears fans. And yes, of course, some changed. Once the Colts came here, mind you, it was 1984. So celebrating 40 years. I'm not going to give. I mean, I'll just tell you this: I was alive. I won't give away my age too much just yet. But my dad, for example, God bless him, big Bears fan. And granted, hey, he likes the Colts. He's like, hey, I support the Colts all the time. He's like, but Colts Bears. He's like, I still kind of like my Bears. And just again, because back before 1984, there was no team here. You were going to go for the Bears or the Bengals. And there were some Bengals fans around, not a lot. There's some, the Ken Anderson days brought some Bengals, that's some Bengals fans there. But the Monsters of the Midway, right? You had all that history there, so most are Bears fans, and so there's a part of that too. But anyway, just useless knowledge for you, I suppose. But let's get into the game. This is there were some bright spots, and let me get back to the positives here because I've been joking around about how bad of a game it was to watch, and it still was. But as a Colts, we'll give you some Colts perspective here and kind of some good things we saw, and then we'll kind of get into the game on Sunday. Jalen Jones, go off, man. 2 interceptions. That last interception was fantastic. I did the little ballerina dance, keep his toes in bounds. One-handed catch, too. So that was pretty slick. 7th round pick, guys and gals. We all know how that is. Sometimes you get those really cool stories, but a lot of times they don't make rosters. They get cut. They end up going somewhere else, might get on a practice squad, get called up for an injury, and a lot of times they struggle and they go back down. We kind of see how this goes in the NFL, and so I love stories like that. Now, granted, it's one game we know. One game. But going to need him this weekend. In case you haven't heard, injury report today, and Colts will be without Kwity Paye and Kenny Moore. Not good. Not good from a Colts defensive standpoint when you're already missing DeForest Buckner, who is your best defensive player, and Juju Brents, who looks like he's probably not coming back this year. Although they're saying it's potentially December maybe, but if he's healthy then and there's a chance the Colts are contending at that point, then maybe he does. But I just, from every report around here, it doesn't sound like it's going to happen. So you got 4 starters, 2 in your defensive backfield and 2 in your front 4 there that are out. The good news, I think, coming forward to this game here is the Pittsburgh offense doesn't necessarily scare you. And that's, hey, I'm not giving them any hate. They're 3-0. Okay. I mean, and Justin Fields, good for him. He's doing the right. I mean, we all seen when he was in Chicago, when he could do it with his feet because he had to, because he was about to get murdered. But right now he's taking care of the ball, and that's huge. Najee Harris is nothing to sneeze at, man. Dude's solid back. So I think really going forward, the Colts are going to have to find a way to get some turnovers. And kind of going back a little bit to the game this past game on Sunday with Anthony Richardson. Look, we all knew he was going to be a project. If you didn't know that, I don't know what to tell you. But the fact to me right now, the fact I have to mention this is kind of crazy to me. Listen, Colts drafted 4th that year. Bryce Young was going to, he goes to Carolina, which I'm sorry, Panthers fans. There was no way they were going to trade up with their division rival to get Stroud. Stroud was, in my mind, a little bit more polished, a little more experienced quarterback, and he's shown that to his credit. But AR is just, and I've been fortunate enough as a Colts season ticket holder to go see him in training camp and whatnot. The dude is he's unbelievable, just a physical specimen. And you've already seen some of the stuff he can do. I mean, you all saw that throw in Houston or against Houston, back foot, slipping, 60-yard bomb to Pierce. Are you kidding me? He did it last year with Aaron Donald in his face and did the exact same thing. Except I think it might have been for like 40 yards, but still, point there. So, but he's got work to do. I mean, you look back at the games, on Sunday, and he completed 10 passes. Fortunately, JT looks great. And that helps. That's going to help him, but they'll need that to continue to happen against this very, very good Pittsburgh defense this week. JT, to me, I mean, this is as good as he's looked, man. Looked like his speed is there. I mean, he broke that run this past Sunday. 30 yards or so, I believe. And he looks good. So that's a great bright spot for the Colts. Linebackers they played better as opposed to the first two games. I think a lot of Colts fans saw 1 and 2 as a real possibility. Just not in the way it came about. Houston game, winnable, but I think a lot of us felt, it's a tough matchup. Houston's really got a lot of talent this year. Got some great signings in the offseason. Winnable game, but not quite there. All right, and then going into Lambeau, thinking Jordan Love, and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, opening, their home opener, Jordan Love, yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. But then he's hurt, and then we saw what happened. Like Gus Bradley's scheme there made Josh Jacobs a Hall of Famer. So Colts end up losing that game, and now they're so they're 0-2. Now we're 1-2. So I think it's the record itself was not. I don't think it's a big surprise to a lot of people. It's just how it happened, how it got there. So you got fan base feeling they should be 2-1, and but they're not. You got to play the game. You got to play the game right between the lines and scheme right. And Colts did not do that the first two games. They got a little better against Chicago, but now you're coming into a Pittsburgh team that, again, they're not. It's not been a scary 3-0, but they're doing things right 3-0, and so the Colts, like I said, we'll have to get some turnovers. And AR is going to have to cut down the silly turnovers. He's going to make mistakes. And I got to keep bringing this up, and I don't mean to get sidetracked, but I was hearing people after the Bears game like, well, when are the Colts going to put Flacco in? I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, let's put the guy that you drafted with your first pick, 4th overall pick. You needed a franchise quarterback. I mean, we all know what's happened here since the Andrew Luck thing. So it's been an issue, obviously. He played 4 games last year before his season-ending injury. Okay. Folks, this will be his 8th game on Sunday. 8th game. So, obviously, simple math, was the 7th game this past weekend, right? And people are like, oh, well, he's just not playing well. Just put in Flacco. Like, I don't want to see Flacco win, period. No disrespect to Flacco. I like Flacco, don't get me wrong. But if I see Flacco in the game, it means AR's hurt, and I don't want to see that. You got to let this kid develop. You got to let him go through some growing pains. He had 2 interceptions this past week. To me, that, one, to me, kind of got away from him. His mechanics are off a little bit. He's kind of slung it, and Sky AP, I believe it was. The one he threw in the end zone was just inexcusable. I mean, that's the part that's got to stop. I mean, that's, to me, that's, that high school and college, like if there's nobody there in the end zone, just take your 3 points and throw that ball in the stands. So that was bad, but like I said, it's going to be a roller coaster. He's going to make, because how these plays, you're going to go, holy bleep, how did he do that? How did he do that? You're going to see him in a series or 2 down the road. Holy, what the bleep was that? That's just what's going to happen. He's just got to figure those out, and it's going to take a little while. I don't, but, we'll see. And as long as I'm good, as long as we see improvements each time, and he's very, very accountable. So the thing I love about this kid, you saw his presser after or the on-field interview after the game. He wasn't happy. I mean, they're like, yeah, smile, the team won. He's like, yeah, it's a great team win. It's a good team win, but I got to be better. He'll get there. But we got to be supportive. We got to be patient with him a little bit. I do think he'll get there. But time will tell. Time will tell. So it's going to be a tough one this Sunday. I think the Colts can they do it? Yes. Will they? Will is another thing to be seen. They have to scheme obviously against Watt, Fitzpatrick, and then they got to take care of the ball. So we'll see what's going to happen there. Yeah, and I was just kind of looking at their schedule now. Even if they were to, I'm going to say this now to Colts fans, and we'll get to our last break. But after this is a tougher one. But after this, You get 2 on the road against 2 teams that are really struggling as well. So you got Jacksonville and the Titans. And we'll talk next week about the Jacksonville curse. I'm really praying this year that ends. But there's no reason in my mind, and I don't like to look ahead too much, why this team couldn't, even if they do lose on Sunday, couldn't turn around and be 3-3 pretty quick. And 3-3, you're not out of it. I mean, we all know that. So, but we'll see. It's going to be a fun game. I hope I will be there. I'll be seeing a few of my Pittsburgh friends there as well. And for those of you who I know and whatnot, hope they can run into you. And, be cheering as loud as we can, because we know it's going to be loud in there with, as well as Pittsburgh travels. So on that note, let's go to our final break here. We'll come back. We'll talk some Hoosiers, Boilermakers, and Irish to close out the show. So come on back. Big Mike here, Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, direct feed for all those sports. We will be right back.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo Sports with a Twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back. It's about 14, 15 minutes left in the show. Thank you so much again for joining. Big Mike here, Indy Sports Nation, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Hope, again, happy Friday to you all. Hope you have a fun weekend planned for, I know I do, which will probably be now sitting in watching football because of all the weather. But speaking of that, let's get to it here. Big weekend in college football. I mean, what isn't? When is it not a big weekend in college football when we think about it, right? So I'm gonna go a little backwards here. I'm really gonna talk about IU. I got a little bit of a rant for IU here. Being we got not a ton of time left in the show, I'm not going to go too much into Purdue, but for Purdue, hosting Nebraska this weekend, just show me something. Just show me something. Give me something. Really thought that they again, we'll get into IU here real quick, but they had that great first game against Indiana State, which you would expect. Go out to Oregon State. And I'm thinking in my head, it's a 2.5 point spread there in Oregon State's favor. That's home field, basically. And they just go out there and to me in my head, I was like, I think that's a game they could possibly win. And even if they'd have lost, it's a closer one, I would have been fine, I suppose. But then, and just to come home after that, and that was Notre Dame in week 3. We all know what happened. Notre Dame just absolutely trounced them after their embarrassing loss, but we'll get in that in a little bit. But just show me something, Purdue. I've already got people asking me, is it basketball season yet? Can we talk about Purdue hardwood? Can we talk about Purdue volleyball? Can we talk about just about anything that's not Purdue football at the moment? Give me something, Purdue. That's all I'm asking. Give me something. So anyway, I want to get to IU. This is a part of the show, part of these episodes going forward. I am excited about this because I love this IU Purdue thing. We all have them in our states, right? We all have our rivalries and what have you. We just absolutely love it. But here in football, it's a little different, right? It's about, when it comes to college, we're basketball state for the most part. IU's 4-0. When was the last time you could – I'm talking to you, IU fans. When was the last time you could say you were 4-0? Oh, and with a conference win on the road. Yeah. Y'all got to support this team. You do. And I know I've heard it from all you fans before. Well, we're 3-0, and then we play a bunch of small Division I or Division II teams, and then we go to wherever for our first conference game, we get rolled, then we get rolled again, and all the wins out of the sails, and we all know what happens after that. They're lucky enough to win a game or two the rest of the way. I don't think it's the case this time. Maryland comes in this weekend. Maryland's not bad. Maryland's 3-1. Lost a tough one to Michigan State. Michigan State's got a field goal late. They beat Auburn. So, I'm not saying Maryland's like, this bad team, but they don't really scare you. IU's got a 7-point, IU's favored by 7. I know the weather is not going to be ideal tomorrow. I get it. But looks like us, checking the forecast earlier, it looks to be better than today. So not great. Looks like it's going to be a little windy still and a little rainy, but you got something here, man. Support this team. Curtis Ignetti's kind of got this, borderline confidence, cocky thing going. Team looks good. Rourke, their quarterback, he looks fantastic. I like IU's ability to run, especially on short, like 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. Just in the times I've watched them this season already. I'm telling you, you saw, and we're talking about Cignetti, and those of you who aren't familiar, came from James Madison University, got him in the top 25. Hell of a season there. Y'all see what James Madison did in North Carolina last weekend? went into their house and dropped 70. Gave up 50, sure. But dropped 70? And I'm already hearing talk. I've already seen chatter, and I don't buy a ton of national banter. I really don't. There's already people talking. This Signetti guy's got this IU team looking really good. I could see a scenario where, a top 20, top 25, perennial, top 20, top 25, moves away from their coach, and boom, there's Signetti. And I'm telling you what, if he's not getting the love and the support from the IU base, it makes it a little bit easier for him to say, okay, see ya. Now I get it. That could happen anyway. He could come in and just give him too much of an offer, good review, yada, yada, yada. I get it. You got a good team. Their schedule? All right. So I've got it right here. So Maryland this weekend. You're a 7-point favorite. Okay. Take care of business. Northwestern. Not great. It's a road game, I understand, but not great. Not great. Nebraska comes in. Nebraska's not bad. They just dropped out of the top 25 after that loss to Illinois. Yeah. Washington comes in. Okay. But home field. Time zone difference, the travel. I'm just saying. To Michigan State. Yeah, okay. That won't be easy. And then you've got Michigan and Ohio State. And then you end the season with Purdue. Which so far the eye test says Purdue, right? Or that you should beat Purdue. There's several wins there that they could and should get. And that's a bowl game. More eyes on your product. But you got to get out there and you got to support these guys. You got to. And as a guy I'm a guy that wants all my Indiana sports teams to do well. All right? I want them to all do well. And, some of it's polarizing. Notre Dame, for example, they're polarizing. Am I the biggest fanboy of Notre Dame? No. But I want them to do well. IU Purdue? Yeah, I may lean a little Purdue. I didn't go to either school. My daughter's a Boiler. Okay, so I may lean a little bit that way. But at the end of the day, it's like I want all these teams to do well and all of them to succeed and just make it's just so much more fun when they do. You've got a fun football team right now. Get out there. Get out there and support them. They deserve it. Again, I know the weather is not ideal, but I want to get out there. If I might give you a little bit of pass on this one because of weather, but the next home game, I want to see how the place is rocking and just going. So, come on, all you fans. I know you got it in you. Get out there and do it. So, with that being said, about to wrap up the show here, but I want to touch a little bit on Notre Dame here. Interesting matchup with Louisville. I think that Irish are 7-point favorite, which I was a little surprised by that, to be honest. To me, it just, I don't know. I mean, quarterback play there is not well. If you've checked out Notre Dame, you see that. They're wearing their greens, so I decided to switch the screen to the bright greens here. They're wearing the bright green unis. I'm actually intrigued by this game. Louisville. To me, it's a tale. It's two teams that don't always play. Sometimes play their level of competition. I guess is probably the best way to put it. And Notre Dame's notorious for that. We've seen what happened this year. That was such a great win at Texas A&M. And I know A&M, you could say, well, they're not all that great, blah 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 blah. They went in there to win that on the road to a hostile environment. If you ever get a chance to go to Texas A&M game, though, I highly recommend it. A lot of fun. The environment is insane. 7 points. Again, 67% chance to win the game, according to ESPN bet. If you're into that, but I've seen it with Louisville too. So they both have ways of kind of playing level of competition. But Notre Dame, on the other hand, just kind of get back to that. They get the nice road win, come back home to Northern Illinois, Mac school. Hey, Northern Illinois, you want to come over and let us whoop on you? Here's $1.2 million. Sure, we'll take that. And oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna pull off the biggest upset in our school history, and take your money. And what many people thought Notre Dame, myself included, would run the table up until maybe USC. But I think they have a really good opportunity this week to right or wrong. Especially now with the new playoff format, 12 teams. If they can get a nice convincing win here against Louisville, I think people will kind of quickly forget about the debacle that was the NIU game. Leonard's got to play better, though. I mean, right now so far for the season, he's 65 of 103, 1 TD, 2 picks. And I've heard it from the fan base as well. Like they're just not real thrilled, and I get it. I mean, when it went into beat we all know what they did to Purdue. And it was funny because I thought initially at the beginning of the season that Purdue might have a chance to upset them. I was like, oh yeah, because Notre Dame will beat Northern Illinois, then it'll come to Ross 8, and I'm like, that might be one that Purdue could potentially. Nope, obviously wasn't even close. It was just Notre Dame ran the ball down their throat. So that part's good, but like I said, I want to see a little bit better quarterback play. I think they can pull that around. I can see Notre Dame hopefully getting a nice win, and helping their fan base kind of forget about the debacle against NIU. So, all right, fam, we're about to wrap this up. It's this has been fun. Thank you again so much. Thank you again to the folks at IU Sports for allowing me a chance to have this platform and just to talk with you all. Definitely want some interaction and just get some good old friendly banter going and go from there. Like I said, you got my socials. Hit me up there. Again, could be more grateful, could be more excited to do this going forward. So have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the sports. Wherever you're at, if the weather's bad in your area, hope you're all safe. Like I said, every Friday, 5 to 6, make some time, get here. Let's have some fun with this thing. All right. But in the meantime, this is for my buddy for the Yins Report. Let's do this, Colts. Let's go get that dub, baby. Y'all have a great weekend. Talk to you next week.